Hi everyone, so we're going to go over the second practice quiz. This is mostly a calculator one, but we're going to get through it. Lucky you all, I'm actually making the video at school, so you won't hear my smoke detector. Sadly, won't see the cat. Maybe next time. So like I said, this is mostly going to be a calculator or Desmos quiz, but you can't just rely on that completely. So it says, is the following equation growth or decay? And you can either look and see the base is greater than 1, so it's most likely, right, the base is 2, probably going to end up being a growth, but, you know, we like to be safe on quizzes. All you need to do is plug it into your graphing calculator or Desmos. So 3 parentheses 2 to the x. Remember, you can't multiply the 3 and 2 because only the 2 has the exponent, right, to the x. There we go. So if I look at my picture, clearly it's going up as we go to the right. So this is growth. Super easy freebie question. Next up, it says graph the equation we just drew above and make sure to plot the asymptote. So if I look here, remember, exponential equations only have horizontal asymptotes. So if I look at my picture that I just drew and I zoom out for good measure, I never go negative and I can't have 0. So the horizontal asymptote has to be y equals 0. And it said clearly plot your asymptote. So I'm going to do that in blue. A little dash line right here on y equals 0. And then answer the behavior questions. We're just going to connect it. We know it goes through the point 0, 3. Because if I look here, zoom in for the y-intercept, that's at 0, 3. And I know it's exponential growth. So there we go. There's our graph. Next up, we have to answer the end behavior. As x approaches infinity, so as we go to the right, what is our picture getting super close to? Well, it's going up forever, so it's getting close to positive infinity. Now, as x goes to negative infinity, so as we go to the left, what is our picture, our y values getting super close to? So as I go here, I may be going left, but we're talking about the y values. That's here. I never have anything down here. So I'm getting super, super close to this line, the asymptote, which is 0. And that's our end behavior. All right, 2 questions done. Next up, we have 19.21. What is the 0 of the following equation? Remember, 0 stands for x-intercept or a root. I'm going to show you how to do it with Desmos and your graphing calculator just in case. So first step, plug it in Desmos or your calculator. So y equals parentheses 1 over 2. Close our parentheses to the x power minus 56. So here we have our exponent function. Went pretty down, but we just want the 0 or the x-intercept. So for Desmos, we just have to tap it, and we get a decimal, which is fine, and it says round to the 10th place. So that's negative 5.8. Done. Now we're going to do the same thing for the second problem, or part B. We're going to write log. For Desmos, I believe you just have to spell it out. L-O-G, see, changes it, log of x outside plus 2. Here's our log, touch it, x-intercept is 0.01. I know this is the 10th place, but then it would just be 0. So for this problem, it was a little poorly directed. So here's our answer. If I wanted to do the same thing, but with a graphing calculator, these are the steps I would use. Okay, I would go to y equals, same thing, and I'm going to plug it in. 1/2 to the power is this button. So to the power of x, here's our x button. I'm going to hit graph just to get a general photo of what we want. And I know it's right. Actually, wait, I didn't fully write the problem down. So then I go back, because I clearly made a mistake. Minus 56. Now if I hit graph, there it is. So you're going to do second trace, and we want the 0. I'm going to hit option 2. It says left bound, right bound, and that just means going left to right. Are you above or below the x-axis? So if I'm coming in from the left, I'm clearly below it. So I'm going to, am I going the right direction? Yes, I am. I'm going to try and get my cursor somewhere below the x-axis, because that's on the left. Hit enter. And then right bound just means if I was below, I go above. Hit enter twice. Oh, I got an error, which means I did it wrong. So second trace number 2, I should have done above first and then below. So now you know if you make a mistake, you can always go back and switch your order. We still got the same thing, negative 5.8. Right? And for this one, same step. Second trace number 2, above or below the x-axis. That's our first page. We're going to flip on over to the back. The back says, a cake recipe says to bake the cake until the center is 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Then let the cake cool to 120 degrees. The table shows temperature reading for the cake. Write an exponential, even tells us what to do, how nice, an exponential equation for the following data. Anytime you're given a table like this and you're expected to create an equation, you have to do stat edit, right? It's a regression problem. And this one, you're going to need a graphing calculator. Okay? Just make sure your diagnostic is on. We hit second 0. Oops, I turned it off instead. Second 0. Go to your diagnostic. On. So we're good. Now we hit stat, edit, and I'm going to clear my table. Just to make it easier. I'm going to put everything. L1 is all of our x's, so for this it's time. 0, 5, 10, 15, 20. And L2 is the temperature. 180, 126, 94, 81, 73. So now we hit stat, move over to calc, and it even told us to exponential, which means all I have to do is go down to find expo reg, which is option 0. We're going to hit enter. There it is. So we get y equals, it says round to the 100th, so 164.16 times our b value, 0.96 to the x power. There it is. And what is the temperature after 13 minutes? So they want us to now plug in 13 for x. And there's two ways you could do it. We could just as easily, I'm just going to do that, 164.16 times 0.96 to the power of 13. Go ahead and hit it, and it says after 13 minutes it should be about 96.56 degrees Fahrenheit. Which makes sense because it's then between 10 and 15, 94 to 81. So we go 94, 96, and then 81. So our math does make sense. Next up, 2 more problems to go. Here we're doing the log function now. Make sure to plot 2 points and your asymptote. So to find the asymptote, logs only have a vertical asymptote. And to find the vertical asymptote, we take whatever is inside the parentheses and set it equal to 0. So if I solve for x, I get -2, which means at x equals, positive 2, duh, wow. At 2, x equals 2, we have a vertical asymptote. The rest, we can use our handy dandy Desmos or our calculator. Same thing, y equals log of x minus 2, close our parentheses, plus 1. There it is. So clearly, there's our asymptote. I'm going to click on that. That looks like a decimal, but it seems like we have a point at 3, 1. So 3, 1, we have a point. And what else looks pretty nice for us? Those are all decimals. It looks like 10. 10, 2 is a point. So we have something at 10, 2. Go ahead, draw our log. If you use the calculator, it might not graph the bottom part, but we expect you to graph the rest of it, just like it's shown. Now, all we have to do is answer the end behavior. So as x approaches 2, so there's nothing on the left side, so we're not going to do anything. So as I get closer to 2, where is the picture going? It's going down to negative infinity. So it's b negative infinity. Okay. Last but not least, we're going to do option A. I'm going to do the first one, and then you guys can just check the second one on your own with your teacher. So if y varies inversely, that's divided by k, the square root of x. So y varies inversely with the square root of x. What is the constant, which means what is k, if y is 16 and x is 4? So all we do is we plug it in, and now we solve. So I know the square root of 4 is 2, and to get k by itself, multiply both sides by 2, and we get k equals 16 times 2, which is 36. And that's all we had to do. Okay. Part B is a little more extra work, so I'll go ahead and set up the problem for you. K varies jointly with w and y. So x varies jointly with w and y. Then it says if x is 20, when x is 2/5 and y is 10. Oops, that's a typo. That should be a w, I believe. And w is 2/5 and y is 10. What is the value of x when w is 8 and y is 3/15? Go ahead, figure that out. You can compare your answer with your teacher, get it checked out. But that's pretty much the quiz, so it shouldn't be too bad. Good luck studying. We'll see you in class.